Okay. What's up, y'all? Okay, so as you guys know, yesterday I brought you guys the news that they had first set out to say that there was $1.25 million that Tasha K owed in general damages, and then they hit her with $250,000 in medical expenses. And I told you guys they would be calculating other things, following that. So here we are, day two, where they've deducted some charges and added a whole lot of more whopping charges. And we're going to talk about this whole entire situation with a special guest by the name of Dennis Byron. So if you guys did not see my coverage of this yesterday, like I said, it said Cardi B claimed a blogger made up harmful lies about her on the internet. And she basically wanted to sue for defamation of character, and she was awarded this large sum of money. Now, fast forward to today, the final total that Tasha K has to pay up is $3.8 million. Now, there was a lot of different charges and different things that was tallied, and the court just really had no mercy for her at all in this situation. And so we're going to bring up Dennis Byron, as he was definitely on the ground during this whole trial. He was one of the people who had, helped Cardi B in this situation as well. So we're going to talk about all of that tonight, get his perspective on what he saw as he was sitting in the courtroom day in, day out. So we are going to give Dennis Byron a huge warm welcome. You guys definitely follow him on Hip Hop Inquirer. That's where he has been going live. And then he also has his Instagram, Mr. Dennis Byron. Correct?
Yes.
Didn't-
Do you want me to step on the stage?
Yeah, it's time to come on stage now.
Well,
Time to come on stage.
Thank you, Neek. Appreciate you inviting me to your platform. I've been watching over the years, and I love the work you're doing. And yeah, let's just get right into it. Yesterday and today was a pretty huge day for Cardi B, as well as a huge day for Tasha K. One favorable, one unfavorable, and then you can see as from the reporting that, by the way, the story you put out on TMZ, that was my story as well. So, I cover for two platforms, Hip Hop Inquirer and TMZ. So let's get right into it. Yesterday, the jury listened to the judge's charges, and they took a lunch and they went into deliberation. The deliberations, I initially reported it was under 3 hours, but when I did the calculation, it was literally almost 2 hours it took them for them to come back with a verdict, a libel on all counts against Tasha K. And I've been covering trials for over 30 years. I've never seen a verdict come back that quick, especially with the length of time that was, it took to prosecute this case. So with that said, the verdict came back, libel on all counts, and then we had the penalty phase, which happened today. They argued, defense and plaintiff argued today why Cardi B should be awarded a certain amount of money. Yesterday, there was the compensatory damages that was $1,250,000. $250,000 was the medical. Today they came back and negotiate the medical from $250,000.
And
it was reduced to $225,000, so which gave it $25,000 for medical. So that coupled with the $1 million from compensatory damage, and now we're at the punitive, where Tasha K has to pay $1 million in punitive. Kiwi Studios has to pay $500,000 in damages. Then you have the attorney fees, which is $1.3 million, which brings it to an estimated total of $3.8 million. Astonishing, and I don't know if Latasha has that kind of money, or Kiwi Studios, but they have already said they're going to appeal this the decision. Now, this is a federal case, and seasoned judge, you don't get on the federal bench unless you're seasoned. And the likelihood of this case being overturned It's slim to none. There weren't a lot. First of all, you have to make a lot of objections that uh, has to be overruled or sustained. Well, I counted, they probably made about maybe 10 objections throughout the whole case, the defense, in which case the judge overruled most of them. I think it was two sustained. And if you know what objection sustained meaning, sustained
Yeah.
means obviously the lawyer, the other side has to rephrase the question. And the objections, judge, if the judge, overrules the objections, then that means keep going with your line across. So anyway, it's significant for it's significant for the blog space, and you as a YouTuber, this may or may not impact the way you conduct business.
Mm-hmm. Go ahead. I'm listening.
So no,
You
I'm just getting an overview why this is pretty significant. Uh,
right. So, me as a YouTuber, I think the difference as far as YouTubers with integrity versus YouTubers who just make up defamatory stuff, I feel like this case, along with other cases, and I have like a glitter on my eye. This case, along with other cases, is going to set, I believe, a precedent for people who just tell blatant lies without anything being fact based. But I don't really think that it will affect the people who follow the community guidelines, because here we have community guidelines that you are running your page, with ethical behavior. You're not trying to cyberbully anybody. And so if you follow those guidelines already, I don't really see it, affecting us too much. But people who just sit up and lie and just make up stuff, I feel like it definitely would affect those channels.
well, think about this. Uh, I don't know how if those 1 million subscribers are actually really 1 million subscribers, but if you have a third of them that actually there are subscribers and a portion of our YouTubers, chances are they are adopting her style of storytelling. And when I say
Mhm.
storytelling, she has taken it to the pinnacle of storytelling. She has openly admitted on the witness stand and through her deposition that she has lied to her subscribers, that she has done it for profit, and that she has intentionally harmed Cardi B with these defamatory statements, these vile statements, these vulgar statements, and it was just reckless. And the jury saw that, and it's important for people to understand that if your goal is the bag without integrity, the bag is going you're going to lose the bag.
Right.
You're a YouTuber, and if you look at what you make, and you kind of gauge it. Just think about what you've done in the period you've been on YouTube, and then multiply that times what she's done in her period, and you can probably get an estimate of what they're actually doing, they're making, because they're gonna do a forensic analysis of her finances and the Kiwi Studios, and it's they're gonna at some point have to come up with the money
Right.
unless they
Right.
file bankruptcy. And I don't know if they're going to even be covered with bankruptcy, because one, this happened in the federal court, and the same court is going to have to decide. The bankruptcy court is going to have to decide, which is going to be another federal judge, whether or not the bankruptcy should be discharged or portions of, or they may take a different chapter. We don't know. We don't know what the strategy is, but there's still a victory for Cardi. Cardi doesn't need the money. It just sends a message that what she's done is unacceptable, and hopefully she cleans up her act. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything to that effect, because the first statement she released didn't show me that there was remorse in there. I think it was more of damage control or deflecting from what really happened.
Right. Um So, yeah, so basically I've been watching a lot of streams. I did a lot of research myself, and how I interpreted the law that I read, there's no way that she can discharge this debt. This debt is it was malicious. Like, when she was found guilty on all counts, it said that this was done in malicious intent. The basis to be able to discharge such a debt, it has to be done without malice. So, you can like get charged with, like, I guess, defamation or whatever, but you can also kind of like escape the like certain parts of it. You know what I'm saying? And
Well,
so she was found on all counts. And in the courts, it said that that was called a tort, and malicious torts are not dischargeable based on what I seen. And then the lawyers who spoke about it and said that you can try to get around it, they said that basically the only way you can try to get around it is if the debtor, like which would be Cardi, who is going after this debt, if they don't want to if they don't contest it. And I find it highly unlikely that Cardi B went through all of these years to then let her just appeal it and not contest it. I find that
Well,
highly unlikely.
I would just say she's going to contest it, but it's another element of that bankruptcy statute that it would have to be during the trial. The plaintiff would have to allege some type of fraud, and if there's an element of fraud in there, which is based on everything in its totality, I feel that there's some fraud in there. If you knowingly tell your subscribers the things that you say are factual, you represent yourself as a journalist, but on the witness stand, you openly in your deposition, you say you're not a journalist. There was so much contradiction; it was unbelievable. The husband saying the wife is lying, the wife is saying the husband is lying, and I think people just when you hear all that testimony, enough is enough. We heard enough. We listened to these awful videos, and enough is enough. Because
Right.
she was really proved to be a bully, a cyber bully. And while people don't say, "Well, you can't bully people," yeah, you can bully people over the internet. And I would defer to Cardi B's statement that she put out today, and she speaks about that. She speaks about. Did you see the statement?
Yeah, I seen the statement. It was on the Shade Room. And matter of fact, we can pull up the statement now. In the statement, they did a good write up. The team did a good write up, is what I'll say about that.
Uh,
Um,
Cardi did a good write up, and the team.
yeah, and the team, they did a good write up. But let me go to the statement right now and read you guys the statement. Um, let's see.
I have it. You need me to send it to you.
It's right here on So she says, after almost 4 years of repeated libel and slander against me, being able to walk away from this victorious brings me great happiness. I appreciate Judge Ray for conducting a fair and impartial trial. I am grateful for the jury and their careful deliberation over the past 2 weeks. I am profoundly grateful for the hard work and support from my legal team. Importantly, thank you to my family and close friends who held my hand and helped me get the support that I needed during this experience. During this trial, all of you have learned about the darkest time in my life. That moment in time was fueled by the vile, disgusting, and completely false narratives that were repeatedly and relentlessly being shared online. I thought I would never be heard or vindicated, and I felt completely helpless and vulnerable. I have never taken for granted the platform that my fame allows me to have, which is why for over 3 years, I dedicated every resource I had to seek justice. And not just justice for me. The truth is that the intentional harm that was done to me is done to countless others every day. The only difference between me and the high schooler who is being cyberbullied and lied on by their classmates is the money and resources I have access to. We collectively have to say enough is enough. We can no longer be a society that turns a blind eye to blatant lies. The unchecked behavior and provably false content on platforms like YouTube have to be addressed and removed. The constant harassment and lies that are reported as factual from journalists and bloggers have to end. My career began on social media, so I know the power it has. Over the past few years, we've seen how social media platforms were able to bring important and necessary conversations to the forefront, such as Black Lives Matter, Stop Asian Hate, and women's rights. However, cyberbullying and intentional attacks um So while I am very grateful that this trial has come to its conclusion and the jury has rendered a powerful and sustainable message, literally, I really hope that my experience forces all of us, but especially the platforms who allow this behavior to be a part of their communities, to rethink what moves us forward as a society versus what cripples us. If you're thinking about suicide and are worried about a friend or loved one, they leave the hotline. So that's pretty much the statement that she left.
Very powerful statement. I mean, she signaled YouTube. She addressed cyberbullying. She put YouTubers and unscrupulous journalists on notice, and I think it was just powerful.
Right.
It was just
And a lot of people, when I was seeing this, they were making this like, oh, they're only going after a black woman because she's a black woman and da 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 da, which is actually not true.
right.
And it shows how much we're so focused on us as a black culture. It really grinds my gears when people make those blanket statements because they're not in white media. Shade Room is not if it's not Kim Kardashian or somebody attached to like a black athlete, if the person is not black, they're not getting posted on the media that we consume.
Absolutely.
So there's other medias out there who are covering similar things that's going on this YouTube space as well. So thanks to my subscriber Thomas B who put me onto this because I wasn't even aware. But there is a guy who had a following of 2.4 million subscribers. Okay. He was a conspiracy theorist and he was a very, very big YouTuber. Okay. And on his platform, he got up there. His name is Alex Jones. So on his
Infowars.
platform,
Infowars.
InfoWars. There you
Right.
go.
Right.
So on his platform, he got up there and he said, listen, he was covering the whole situation with the Sandy Hook situation. And he got on his platform and said that the people were not real. He said that this was not a real situation that happened. He said that they were actors in this whole Sandy Hook thing. And there was a lot of people who believed him. It spread like wildfire. And the families who were directly affected by it, they sued him. And
Absolutely.
so, as a result of them suing him, they were like, listen, we're real people and we're really grieving. And you're out here telling people on your YouTube platform that we don't exist and we're actors. And it's a total lie. And so they sued him and they recently, basically, because he was found,
He didn't answer. He
he
didn't
was
answer.
he was found basically liable for the lies or whatever. um YouTube then seen that the judge ruled that he was guilty by default after he refused to hand over evidence like his financial records ordered by the court. And his show online, basically, once he was found guilty by default, YouTube stepped in and snatched his platform of 2.4 million subscribers based on him coming forward and saying that the Sandy Hook people were not true and he was, liable for this defamation. So, to my black people out there, please stop speaking information that you don't know and acting like this is just a black woman thing and they're just going after her because they're a black woman. Broaden your scope, because even I wasn't even aware of this. You know what I'm saying? Stop saying stuff that isn't true. People are going after people because they're sick of people getting online and just blatantly making up lies that is spread to the masses. So
And
you know
do we have to rehash what actually was said? Do we have to rehash what was actually said during the testimony? And if so, you can paint a serious picture as to what the jury was watching. One of the things that was said was
back to
Cardi
the
B.
Cardi B case. Yeah.
Right. She was a prostitute, that
Hmm.
she used cocaine, and that she did debasing acts, as well as she committed adultery. So all these things that she said were actual crimes. So that raised the bar for the jury to look at when you say these things, and none of the things were true. None of them could be proven. And then just think about this. She actually had to provide her health records because someone else that she never knew made a false claim about her. And how embarrassing is that? Even though the test results were negative, but to the fact that you would make up a lie and make someone expose your medical records, that is obviously your privacy records. And you had to do that. So there were so many things that the jury had to put themselves in her shoes, in Cardi's shoes, and think about how would they feel if someone did that to them. And the jury spoke values. The quicker the verdict came in, the more powerful the message was.
All right. So I'm going to step back a little bit and we're going to go to the beginning when all of this stuff was going on. So this situation happened. Tasha K goes on her platform. She does this interview. Cardi B tries to plead with her and she's like, "Listen, that's not true. Can you please consider me? I'm a parent, I'm a mom, blah, 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 blah. Can you please take it down?" They, from my understanding, sent her a total of 3 cease and desist. Not
Absolutely.
1, not 2, but 3 cease and desist. So at some point, did you reach out to Cardi or Cardi reached out to you? How do you get involved with putting something together to serve her, something like that?
Well, are we talking about the testimony or what came out in the court or anything prior to that? I would just say I help facilitate the service of the lawsuit because obviously Tasha K was avoiding service as well as Star Marie Jones. But through my team, we facilitated that where the lawsuit was served. So she wouldn't have been in court if Cardi didn't reach out to me.
Okay. So you were able to facilitate a team that made sure she was served properly for this lawsuit because she kept saying that the lawsuit wasn't real, right? Or
I
that
don't
she
know.
wasn't served.
That happened before I was hired because I also own a crisis media company. So at the time, I was doing a cyberbullying story for my company, Hip Hop Inquirer, and I guess she got wind that I was doing the story because it was something else Tasha had did that raised the eyebrow. I think she was covering the R. Kelly trial, and I know 1 or 2 people that she was targeting, and as a result, I know the person for years, and I don't want to put the person's name out there because I was told today that they filed a suit against Tasha K as well.
Okay, so somebody else is filing a suit
Absolutely, absolutely. See,
against her.
this libel, her being held liable for all these counts, is open a floodgate of people who potentially can sue her. So
Correct.
this should have never went. This should have never went to federal court because if the lawyers were worth their weight, they would have obviously said no, this case is not winnable. And the judge said it as well during pretrial. Why did they allow this to go instead of just taking the videos down, issuing a retraction, and kept it moving? So this was a $3.8 million narcissist decision that resulted in probably a financial loss for a long time.
So did you see her remarks after and where she said that everyone in her seat pretty much goes through this?
Well, I'm gonna say something that that more younger people say. That was all cap. Everyone doesn't go through this. It has been no case in years where a YouTuber has gotten sued for making such egregious statements to another person. So when she says that, that's a lie. Just think about it. You can scour through the whole federal court system and go through Nexus. There's no cases like this.
So she said that everyone in her seat goes through this. So I'm
well, she
thinking
must be sitting in the seat by
she's
herself.
she
She's in
putting
the seat by
herself in
herself.
the same position, I guess, as like a Wendy Williams or people of
No,
that nature.
no. Well, you do a little research. Has anyone talk show? Wendy's. She's came close. I remember when she worked in radio in New York. She got fired from WPLS, and then she had to go take a timeout, and then she went to I believe a Philadelphia station, but no one sued her. No one sued her. So when she says stuff like that, that's just to obviously throw, I guess, the subscribers off. But at the end of the day, she openly admitted that she lied, that she consistently lied. She did, her husband's lying on her, she's lying on her husband. It was just a debacle in that courtroom.
All right,
And
walk us through that. So, first, her husband did, from my understanding, a deposition. And after he did the deposition, then there's this trial. While you guys are in the courtroom observing him, he goes on the stand and he gives testimony. So, can you tell us what he said as far as his testimony as it pertains to being in charge of whether or not she takes a video down or not, and whether or not he has access to emails? And then can you let us know what Tasha K said as it pertains to her access to emails and if her husband was telling the truth or not?
okay, so during direct examination, I want to say that it was either Sarah, I believe it was Sarah. They were cross-examined him, and I had to check it, because it's been a long trial. But essentially, the question was asked that first of all, are you the president of the company, or are you the owner of the company? First, Tasha K was on stand, and they asked her, was she the president or the owner? She says she's half owner of the company. Her husband's the president.
Mm-hmm.
Very important. She says on the stand, before he gets on the stand, that no, my husband is the president. Now he's listening to the testimony. He wasn't outside the courtroom. He heard her say that he was the president. He gets on the stand and says that he's not the president. He's the owner. And they asked, and he said, well, isn't the president the owner the same thing? Which is not. And he said, then they asked him, have you ever used the title president while you ran Kiwi Studios? He said no. So she perjured herself on the stand again. He said he never used the term president. And there was another instance where they asked him, so if you're the owner, don't you have the power to take videos down? He says he doesn't take any videos down. His wife does. Then there was another instance where there were the letter cease and desist sent out to the company email address, and they responded to one of them. When I say they, we don't know which one responded. She said that she doesn't respond to emails, that her husband did it. Husband gets on the stand and says he didn't respond to the email. She did it. So it was just crazy. It was just crazy, weird testimony that you would think that if you actually in the courtroom witnessing your wife saying this, why don't you support her?
Okay. When you were in the courtroom and you saw Cardi B give the testimony that she wanted to unalive herself and do a self-control alt and delete of herself.
Are you talking about suicide?
Yeah, I'm trying not to say certain words, Dennis. Okay.
Okay.
When she said she was, having these thoughts of doing these things to herself, what was Tasha K's expression, or could you see her expression when Cardi B was giving this testimony? And did she appear to show any remorse?
I had a good vantage point in the courtroom. I made sure I sat where I can see both the husband and the wife. So I watched very carefully how she responded to some of the things Cardi said. And it was kind of just, she had a stoic look on her face where the husband had his head down. And I thought that the fact that she didn't react and she was looking straight ahead, she wasn't even looking at Cardi. So I looked at the jury to the right of me, and they were looking for a reaction, which they listening to Cardi's testimony. And as a result of the testimony, I am so sorry. Someone's, I'm in an interview right now, so someone's calling because I have to do another one. So we got to kind of cut this because they're waiting for me over there. But for the most part, I believe that the way her demeanor was also impacted the way the jury viewed her as someone that was remorseful. The husband, I felt like he's just there. He's just going along with the program, and he's just there. And that's probably
Mm-hmm.
why TV Studios only got $500,000. While that it's not a light dollar amount, but they didn't hit him as hard as they hit her. You know, they gave her twice as much as they gave him in damages.
Mm-hmm.
But this is a great, great platform. I don't want to rush you, but I have to be on another platform in a second.
Okay, I just want to ask one more thing.
Sure.
I'm not sure who said it, but it was somebody who said that when they um gave the judgment of how much she has to pay, did she start crying?
That from what I was told that this was during the verdict, not the not the money amount, but that the fact she lost the case. It was
Mm-hmm.
someone who went in the bathroom. She was crying in the bathroom.
Oh, okay. Who is that?
I,
Do you know?
I can't say. I can't say who was the person who told me this. Who went in the bathroom when she
Oh,
was in the.
okay, so somebody that you were in communication with told you that they went into the bathroom and she was crying in the bathroom
Absolutely,
after she lost her case.
absolutely.
Oh, okay.
I
All
got to
right.
protect my sources. Unfortunately, I get sources to go in the bathrooms too.
All right. Well, I don't want to hold you. I'll just finish out the stream and talk to the people.
And thank
But
you
thank you
for.
so much for coming on.
And we can do this again. We do this dance again another time.